Get the big size and big taste you crave. 11 big choices. Any two, just $3. Only at Checkers. Little place, big taste.
5 with at least 10 minutes of non-stop news and weather. This is News 3 on your side at 11.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Russ Riesinger. Thanks for joining us. The angry debate over health care hasn't stopped just because the reform is now law, and a local representative is on the front of the battle lines. South Carolina Congressman Joe Wilson is leading an effort to repeal the new federal health care law. He rallied supporters today at his West Columbia campaign headquarters. They signed a pledge to repeal the law and replace it with a bill that Wilson is sponsoring. He says the new law will cost too much and mean lost jobs. He says repeal is possible next year because Democrats are likely to lose seats in the November elections.
What would you say to people who supported this law and say we've got to get coverage to people who don't have health insurance?
And I would tell you that that's what the bill that I have would do. It provides for affordability and accessibility right away, not 4 years from now, not 10 years from now, whatever the means is.
The Congressman James Clyburn says he doesn't think Democrats will lose their majority in Congress. He says this repeal effort is like Strom Thurmond saying in 1968 that he would go to Washington and repeal the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Well, tucked away in that federal health care law is what many say is an unfair tax on women. It's being called the tanning tax. It's a 10% tax on tanning salon services that's set to start in July. The government says the tax will generate $2.7 billion over 10 years. New tonight at 11, News 3's Clyburn talks to one local tanning salon owner who's worried the tax may hurt her business.
Many folks go to tanning salons to get that coveted bronze glow. But that glow might cost you more green, thanks to a 10% tanning tax that's part of the health care reform legislation.
Well, at first I thought it was a joke because I thought surely they're not going to impose such a double-digit large tax on what's more lower and middle-class women.
Shanna Lane, owner of Tantastic Tanning, points out the majority of tanning salons are owned by women and feels they're being singled out.
It's amazing to me that in these really difficult economic times, something like a double-digit tax gets placed on services that make people feel good, you know, things like hair and nails. We don't view ourselves any differently than those other services.
Lane says a 10% tax is too much for her to absorb. She's not happy about passing the cost to customers, and she's afraid that would force some to cut back.
We're not happy about it. We hope it gets taken out. We hope it gets replaced by something else, even if it's just a lesser tax.
Then there's the worry over her 8 employees.
I hope to not have to lay off any employees. I hope to not have to really change the structure of my business very much.
She hopes lawmakers will change their minds so everyone can keep their jobs. Clyburn, WSAV News 3.
Well, the tanning tax was put into the health care reform legislation in place of a so-called Bow tax that would have put a 5% tax on cosmetic surgeries like Botox injections and breast implants. The Indoor Tanning Association estimates that the tanning tax will generate less than half of what the government estimates. A high-profile Savannah attorney is headed to prison. Benjamin Eichholz found himself on the other side of the law today. He will spend 21 months in federal prison. He was also fined $25,000 for obstructing a federal investigation concerning investments from retirement and pension plans at his law firm. The judge also ordered Eichholz to pay more than $50,000 to the people who lost money. Attorneys for Eichholz asked the judge to split the sentence, half in prison and half home confinement, but the judge didn't go for it.
I think the judge, because he maintains a very high opinion of lawyers and standard, which he should, I think he felt like because Benny Eichholz was a lawyer that